Ken Curtis, beloved star of Gunsmoke, led a life full of highs and lows, yet his death left shocking unanswered questions. From his massive net worth to an abandoned home, his final years were far from the spotlight. What happened to his wealth? What's the truth behind his sad death? In this video, we reveal the untold story of Ken Curtis, his legacy, his family, and the dark mystery that lingered after his passing. When talking about Ken Curtis, we cannot ignore his tumultuous marriages. Ken Curtis's first foray into marriage came at a young age. In 1943, at just 18 years old, he married Lorraine Page, a woman he had met during his early years in Hollywood. The marriage was born out of youthful exuberance and a desire for companionship in an industry that was often isolating. However, the union was short-lived, ending in divorce in 1950 after just 7 years. There were various reasons for the dissolution, including the pressures of Curtis's rising career, his burgeoning fame, and the demands that came with it. In the years that followed, Curtis would reflect on this marriage with a sense of regret, noting that he was too immature to fully understand the responsibilities of marriage at the time. Despite their divorce, Curtis and Page remained on relatively good terms, and his first marriage, though brief, was a formative experience in his personal life. It was in this period that Curtis began to understand the intricacies of balancing his career and his personal relationships, an understanding that would later influence his future marriages. Curtis's second marriage came almost immediately after his first divorce. In 1952, he married Barbara Ford, the daughter of legendary director John Ford. Ford was a prominent figure in Hollywood, known for his influential work in westerns. Curtis, eager to align himself with this powerful family, found in Barbara a woman who was both charming and well-connected in the industry. The marriage was an attempt at stability and security for Curtis, who was still in the early stages of his career, building his reputation as a leading man in Hollywood. Barbara Ford was reportedly a more reserved and private person, in contrast to the more flamboyant persona that Curtis was known for on screen. Over the course of their marriage, there were growing tensions between them, fueled by Curtis's demanding career, his increasing fame, and the pressures that came with being married to someone who was constantly in the spotlight. As the years passed, the two found themselves growing apart, with Curtis often away filming and Barbara remaining in the background. The marriage ultimately ended in 1964, after 12 years. The reasons for the split were largely attributed to Curtis's infidelities and the pressures of living in the public eye. Although the divorce was amicable, it was another personal setback for Curtis, who struggled with feelings of guilt over the breakdown of the relationship. Despite this, Curtis and Barbara maintained a cordial relationship, particularly for the sake of their 2 children, and the divorce was not as bitter as many others in Hollywood during that time. After his second divorce, Curtis found love once again in the form of Tori Connolly, whom he married in 1966. Tori was a woman who seemed to balance out Curtis's more tumultuous life. She was a private individual, and while their marriage had its ups and downs, it provided Curtis with a sense of emotional stability that he had longed for in his previous relationships. Tori and Curtis had 2 stepchildren from her previous relationships, and Curtis embraced them as his own, establishing a family dynamic that was markedly different from his earlier marriages. Curtis's third marriage was notably more enduring than the first 2, lasting until his death in 1991. Over the years, the couple developed a deep bond, though it was not without its challenges. Curtis's career continued to take him around the world, and he faced personal struggles with addiction, which at times put a strain on their relationship. Despite these hurdles, Tori stood by her husband, offering him the support and understanding he needed. In the later years of his life, Curtis often spoke about Tori with great affection, referring to her as his true love. This marriage represented a sense of fulfillment and peace that had eluded him in his earlier years. Curtis was able to find a balance between his career, family, and personal life, and Tori played a significant role in helping him navigate the difficulties that came with his fame. In addition to his stormy marriages, Ken Curtis also became notable for his wealth. Reportedly, at the time of his passing in 1991, Curtis's net worth was estimated to be around $5 million, a testament to his diverse career and the significant impact he made in both the film and music worlds. His wealth was largely the result of his long career in Hollywood, marked by notable television and film roles, as well as his earlier work in the music industry. In addition, Ken Curtis's wealth is also shown through his notable real estate properties. Some sources said that Ken Curtis chose to make his home in Santa Barbara County, California, a location that not only matched his public persona, but also provided him with the peace and solitude he deeply cherished. Curtis's residence was located in the Santa Ynez Valley, an area renowned for its natural beauty, rolling hills, and proximity to both wine country and the Pacific Ocean. The serene and scenic environment of the valley made it an ideal location for someone like Curtis, who was known to be a private individual and had a deep appreciation for nature and the Western lifestyle. Santa Ynez Valley, part of Santa Barbara County, is known for its relaxed atmosphere, picturesque landscapes, and rich agricultural heritage. Situated just a short drive from the Pacific coastline, the valley enjoys a mild climate, making it a desirable location for those seeking an escape from the hectic pace of life in Los Angeles. The region is famous for its wineries and vineyards, drawing both tourists and permanent residents who are attracted to the area's charm and tranquil surroundings. For someone like Ken Curtis, whose life in Hollywood had been filled with the pressures of fame, Santa Ynez Valley offered the perfect respite. The valley's secluded nature made it an ideal place for Curtis to retreat from the spotlight, allowing him to reconnect with nature and live a quieter life. While he had achieved considerable fame through his acting career, particularly for his role as the lovable, cantankerous deputy on Gunsmoke, Curtis was a deeply private person. His choice to live in the Santa Ynez Valley speaks to his desire to lead a life away from the media frenzy and public attention that often came with being a prominent television star. Ken Curtis's California home was a ranch-style property, perfectly suited to his personality and interests. Known for his love of Western films and culture, Curtis's home in the Santa Ynez Valley embodied the lifestyle he had long portrayed on screen. As Festus Haggen, Curtis was synonymous with the rugged outdoor life of the American West, and his choice of home reflected that persona. The ranch-style architecture was characterized by its spaciousness, low-pitched roof lines, and integration with the surrounding landscape, making it an ideal match for someone who loved the outdoors. The property was likely designed to accommodate Curtis's love for country living, complete with features that fit the Western lifestyle. Horse stables and ample land for ranching would have been key components of the estate, allowing Curtis to indulge in activities that were close to his heart, such as horseback riding, ranching, and perhaps even caring for animals. The open spaces surrounding his home would have given Curtis a sense of freedom and tranquility, allowing him to enjoy the natural beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley. The ranch-style property was more than just a place to live. It was a sanctuary where Curtis could escape from the demands of his acting career and enjoy the solitude he craved. In a career marked by his long-running role on Gunsmoke and other television and film appearances, the opportunity to live in an expansive private home surrounded by nature must have been a welcome contrast to the hustle and bustle of Hollywood. One of the key aspects of Santa Ynez Valley is its allure as a quieter, slower-paced alternative to Los Angeles. Many individuals, particularly those in the entertainment industry, have chosen to settle in the valley for its ability to offer both privacy and proximity to the city. Curtis, like many others, likely valued the peace and serenity of his home, as it provided a rare opportunity to disconnect from the pressures of public life. In interviews and public appearances, Curtis was known to speak fondly of his life in Santa Ynez, which offered him the solitude that he deeply appreciated. His home was situated far enough from the urban sprawl of Los Angeles to offer a sense of seclusion, but it was still close enough for him to maintain connections to the entertainment world. This balance between privacy and accessibility was likely a key factor in Curtis's decision to live in the Santa Ynez Valley. Ken Curtis's love for the American West was not confined to the roles he played on screen, especially his iconic portrayal of Festus Haggen on Gunsmoke. Beyond his California home in the Santa Ynez Valley, Curtis also owned a ranch in Montana, a property that is less documented but still offers fascinating insights into his personal connection to the Western lifestyle. While details about the Montana ranch are sparse compared to his more well-known California estate, it's clear that this property embodied the rugged, expansive ideals of the American frontier that Curtis was so passionate about. Montana, with its vast, open spaces, rugged terrain, and remote beauty, has long been considered the heart of the American West. Known for its mountain ranges, expansive grasslands, and serene landscapes, the state has drawn people who seek solitude, freedom, and a deep connection to nature. For someone like Ken Curtis, who spent much of his career portraying characters deeply tied to the Western frontier, Montana would have been an ideal location to embrace the lifestyle he had come to love and embody on screen. Unlike his California home in the Santa Ynez Valley, which was known for its temperate climate and proximity to wine country, Curtis's Montana ranch would have been situated in a much more rugged environment. Montana's natural beauty and isolation would have provided a stark contrast to the more cultivated and vineyard-rich surroundings of Santa Barbara County. The ranch likely gave Curtis an entirely different experience, allowing him to live out his passion for country living in a more traditional frontier-style environment. Ken Curtis was not only an actor but a true lover of the Western lifestyle, and owning a ranch in Montana allowed him to immerse himself fully in this world. Horses, a quintessential symbol of Western culture, were likely a prominent part of his life at the ranch. Curtis's deep affection for horses was evident throughout his career, especially in his portrayal of Festus, who was often seen riding across the rugged landscapes of Gunsmoke. Having a ranch in Montana would have allowed Curtis to live out his love for horses in a more authentic, hands-on manner away from the spotlight. The property likely featured expansive pastures and open fields, providing ample space for horseback riding, ranching, and other Western activities that Curtis cherished. As a ranch owner in Montana, Curtis could have spent time caring for animals, riding across the vast landscapes, and indulging in the kind of outdoor life that aligned with his public persona. The beauty of Montana's open skies and sweeping vistas would have allowed him to truly escape into the environment he adored, living as he believed people of the West should live, with hard work, connection to the land, and a deep respect for the traditions of the frontier. While many aspects of the property remain undocumented, it's likely that the Montana ranch was a place where Curtis could reconnect with his roots, living in the heart of the West that had so strongly influenced his career and personal life. The natural setting of Montana would have allowed Curtis to live the life of a true Westerner, in contrast to the more commercialized aspects of his Hollywood fame. Much like his home in Santa Ynez Valley, Curtis's Montana ranch likely provided the peace and solitude that he greatly valued. Known to be a private individual, Curtis often sought refuge from the public eye, and the ranch would have been an ideal retreat for him, especially after his retirement from acting. In the remote expanses of Montana, Curtis would have had the freedom to live without the constant media attention that followed him during his years in Hollywood. The wide open spaces and isolation of the ranch would have allowed him to enjoy the quiet, reflecting the solitude he sought in his later years. The allure of Montana's natural beauty would have offered Curtis the perfect place to unwind, relax, and immerse himself in the outdoor activities he enjoyed. Whether it was fishing in one of the state's pristine rivers, hiking through the mountainous terrain, or simply sitting on his porch enjoying the view, The Montana ranch likely became a peaceful haven where Curtis could step away from the pressures of fame and enjoy the simple pleasures of life. The seclusion provided by Montana's vast landscapes meant that Curtis could enjoy a more personal, introspective life, something that was hard to achieve in the Hollywood spotlight. It is believed that Ken Curtis spent a significant amount of time at his Montana ranch after retiring from acting, marking the final chapter of his life. The property may have served as a peaceful retirement retreat where Curtis could fully embrace the lifestyle he had often portrayed on television and film. Having spent decades in front of the camera, the chance to retire to a place that reflected his personal passions would have been a welcome change for Curtis. Away from the demands of Hollywood, he could focus on the activities and values that brought him true happiness. Whether that meant working on the ranch, spending time with family, or simply enjoying the tranquility of Montana's open spaces. Given Curtis's deep connection to the Western culture and his lifelong affection for horses, the ranch in Montana likely held special significance for him. It was the ideal place to continue living out the Western lifestyle that he had come to embody both on screen and off. In the remote quiet of Montana, he could have fully immersed himself in the traditions and customs of the American West, all while enjoying the peace that came with being far from the hustle and bustle of Hollywood. Now let's talk about Ken Curtis's childhood. In 1926, when Curtis was just a child, the Gates family moved to Los Animas, Colorado, a small town that would play a pivotal role in shaping his early years. Curtis's father, Dan, served as the sheriff of Bent County, which immersed the family in the law enforcement lifestyle. Growing up in a household with a father in law enforcement gave Curtis a front-row seat to the complexities of justice and morality in a frontier society. While his father's position may have exposed him to the hardships of the American West, it also instilled a sense of discipline, honor, and respect for the law that would later become crucial elements of the characters he would bring to life on screen. Living in Los Animas meant that Curtis spent much of his early years surrounded by the rugged beauty of Colorado's plains and mountains, an environment that would strongly influence his future career in the Western genre. He grew up in a time when the American West was still defined by frontier ideals of independence and self-reliance, qualities that would later resonate in his portrayals of Western characters. Curtis's years at Bent County High School in Los Animas marked a time of active involvement in sports and music, which helped shape his multifaceted personality. As a student, he excelled as the quarterback of the football team, showcasing his leadership and competitive spirit. Football would have been a significant outlet for his physicality and energy, skills that would later serve him well in his acting career, particularly in the physically demanding Western roles he would take on. His involvement in the sport also suggested an early affinity for the kind of tough, hard-working characters that would become his trademark on screen. In addition to football, Curtis also displayed his musical talent, playing the clarinet in the school band. His interest in music would play a major role in his early career, particularly in his time with the famous Western singing group, the Sons of the Pioneers. Curtis's time playing music in the school band not only broadened his creative horizons, but also fostered his love for the Western music genre that would later become an integral part of his professional life. Music would always remain a key aspect of Curtis's persona, and it was his musical roots that first set him on the path to Hollywood. After graduating from Bent County High School in 1935, Curtis briefly attended Colorado College, with an interest in pursuing a career in medicine. However, his time at college was short-lived, as Curtis soon realized that his true passion lay in music and performance rather than medicine. His decision to leave Colorado College was a pivotal moment in his life, as it set him on the path toward a career in show business, a world far removed from the quiet, law-abiding life of a small-town boy. In 1941, Ken Curtis's musical career took a major leap forward when he joined the legendary Tommy Dorsey Band, one of the most popular big bands of the era. Curtis succeeded Frank Sinatra, one of the greatest vocalists in American history, as the lead vocalist. This was a remarkable opportunity for Curtis, who had already built a strong foundation in music, but now found himself fronting one of the most prestigious musical acts of the time. His tenure with the Dorsey Band exposed him to a national audience and allowed him to refine his vocal style, learning from the best in the business. Curtis's time with Tommy Dorsey was crucial in shaping his musical career, but it also put him in the spotlight as a crooner in his own right, capable of captivating audiences with his voice. While Sinatra's departure from the Dorsey Band marked a significant change for the group, Curtis was able to fill those big shoes and make the role his own. His time with the Dorsey Band gave him valuable experience in performing in front of large crowds and established him as a vocal talent to be reckoned with. Following his stint with Tommy Dorsey, Curtis continued to pursue his musical career, joining Shep Fields and His New Music, an innovative and experimental all-reeds band. Fields's band was known for pushing the boundaries of big band music, experimenting with sound and structure to create a unique, jazz-infused style. Curtis's ability to adapt to different musical genres and styles made him a perfect fit for this avant-garde group. As the lead vocalist in Fields's band, Curtis had the opportunity to showcase his versatility, transitioning from the smooth, mainstream style of the Dorsey Band to a more experimental, jazz-oriented sound. Working with Shep Fields allowed Curtis to expand his musical range and further hone his skills, particularly in the realm of jazz and big band music. While his time with Fields's band was relatively short, it was an important phase in Curtis's career that exposed him to new musical ideas and allowed him to experiment with his vocal style. This period was vital in shaping Curtis's understanding of different musical genres, which would later influence his performances in both music and film. In 1949, Curtis's career took another significant turn when he became the lead singer of the Sons of the Pioneers, one of the most influential Western singing groups in history. The Sons of the Pioneers were known for their harmonious blend of Western, country, and folk music, and their songs often celebrated the American West, embodying themes of frontier life, adventure, and nostalgia. Curtis's voice became synonymous with the group's signature sound, and his contributions helped the Sons of the Pioneers achieve even greater success. Some of the group's most memorable hits from this period include Room Full of Roses and the hauntingly iconic Ghost Riders in the Sky, a song that has become one of the most enduring pieces of Western music. Curtis's powerful and emotive vocals brought a new dimension to the group's music, elevating their songs to new heights. His unique voice, combined with the group's harmonies and Western themes, made the Sons of the Pioneers a beloved name in American music. During his time with the group, Curtis helped solidify their place in the Western music pantheon, and the success of their songs contributed to his growing recognition in the entertainment industry. While Curtis's musical career was flourishing, his interest in acting was beginning to take shape. In 1945, he signed with Columbia Pictures, marking the beginning of his transition from music to film. Initially, Curtis appeared in a series of musical westerns, a genre that allowed him to combine his musical background with his growing presence on screen. These early roles showcased his versatility and laid the foundation for his eventual career in acting, which would span several decades. His musical westerns, though not as widely remembered as some of his later films, were significant in Curtis's development as an actor. His ability to sing and act allowed him to bring a unique energy to his roles, particularly in films where music and Western themes were central to the story. Curtis's performances in these films helped establish him as a capable and charismatic actor, though his breakout role would come later when he became a part of the legendary John Ford's stable of actors. Curtis's personal and professional life intersected when he married Barbara Ford, the daughter of the famed director John Ford. This marriage opened the door for Curtis to collaborate with one of the most influential directors in Hollywood history. Ford's Western films were iconic, often celebrating the grandeur and harshness of the American West, and Curtis was able to take part in this cinematic tradition. Curtis's association with John Ford led to roles in two of Ford's most famous films, Rio Grande, 1950, and The Searchers, 1956. Both films were seminal works in the Western genre, and Curtis's appearances in them further cemented his status as a key player in Hollywood's Western scene. In Rio Grande, Curtis played a supporting role alongside John Wayne, and in The Searchers, one of Ford's most celebrated films, Curtis contributed to the ensemble cast that helped bring the story of vengeance and redemption to life. These films not only showcased Curtis's acting abilities, but also aligned him with some of the most iconic figures in the Western film genre, most notably John Wayne. Ken Curtis's portrayal of Festus Haggen on Gunsmoke stands as one of the most enduring and iconic roles in television history. When Curtis joined the cast of Gunsmoke in 1964, he became a vital part of a show that had already established itself as a cornerstone of American television. His authentic and memorable portrayal of Festus, the grizzled deputy, not only endeared him to audiences, but also became a defining aspect of the show's success over the years. Curtis's contribution to Gunsmoke lasted 11 years and spanned an impressive 304 episodes, solidifying his place in Western entertainment history. Festus Haggen, a rough-and-tumble but good-hearted deputy, became one of the most beloved characters in the history of Western television. Curtis's portrayal of Festus was both comedic and dramatic, blending a sense of humor with moments of deep emotional resonance. His character was first introduced as a recurring guest star, but his popularity quickly made him a series regular. Festus was not just another sidekick or comic relief, he was a fully developed character whose toughness, loyalty, and moral compass resonated with viewers. He was a foil to the stoic and serious Marshal Matt Dillon, played by James Arness, and their dynamic became one of the most memorable partnerships in television history. Festus's rough exterior, marked by his gruff voice, rugged appearance, and distinctive speech patterns, was balanced by his underlying loyalty to the people of Dodge City and his often unexpected moments of vulnerability. Curtis's portrayal of Festus gave the character depth, moving beyond the stereotypical Western sidekick. Festus wasn't just the comic relief, he had a sense of honor, a quick wit, and a deep sense of justice that made him a beloved figure. Curtis's ability to bring such authenticity to the character helped Gunsmoke remain a powerful force in television, long after it first premiered in 1955. Curtis's role as Festus became a cornerstone of the show, and his presence in the series contributed to the continued success of Gunsmoke in its later years. The series ran for an incredible 20 seasons, and Curtis's involvement spanned 11 of those years. He quickly became a fan favorite, and his character became synonymous with the show itself. The fact that Festus was so widely embraced by viewers speaks to Curtis's remarkable ability to embody a role that was both humorous and deeply human. While Gunsmoke remains Curtis's most iconic role, it wasn't his only significant contribution to Western entertainment. Throughout his career, Curtis had the opportunity to work with legendary director John Ford, one of the most influential filmmakers in Hollywood history. Curtis's collaborations with Ford helped further cement his legacy as a key figure in Western film. One of the most notable films in which Curtis appeared was The Quiet Man, 1952, a film that, while not strictly a Western, embodied many of the themes and values that are central to Western cinema. Directed by John Ford and starring John Wayne, The Quiet Man is a story about an American boxer who returns to his ancestral home in Ireland, where he falls in love with a spirited woman. Curtis's role in the film, though smaller compared to Wayne's, was still significant, and his performance contributed to the film's overall charm and appeal. Another important collaboration between Curtis and Ford came in The Horse Soldiers, 1959. A classic Western film that starred John Wayne and was directed by Ford. The film tells the story of a Union cavalry unit during the Civil War, and Curtis's role added an extra layer of authenticity to the film. The Horse Soldiers is one of Ford's more action-driven westerns, and Curtis's portrayal of a tough, no-nonsense character helped elevate the film's gritty and realistic portrayal of the Civil War. Working with John Ford was a significant moment in Curtis's career. Ford's Western films were not only critically acclaimed, but also shaped the way future generations would understand and appreciate the genre. Curtis's contributions to Ford's films, while not as central as his role in Gunsmoke, were vital in helping him become a respected figure in the world of Western entertainment. His collaborations with Ford helped him solidify his place as an actor who could seamlessly transition between film and television, bringing authenticity to every role he took on. Ken Curtis's long-lasting impact on Western entertainment was formally recognized in 1981 when he was inducted into the Western Performers Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame honors individuals who have made significant contributions to the genre of Western entertainment, whether through film, television, or music. Curtis's induction was a well-deserved recognition of his work, particularly his portrayal of Festus Haggen on Gunsmoke, which had become an integral part of Western television. The Western Performers Hall of Fame honors the men and women who have shaped the genre, and Curtis's legacy as one of the most beloved and enduring figures in Western entertainment was solidified through this honor. What do you think about Ken Curtis? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.